Welcome to the call, Bob.
Here we go, another week.
I heard that move.
Hey, I just wanted to let everybody know really quickly up here that we are going to have a guest on to takes in those people from other worlds and other jobs and stuff, other walks of life. And we're going to have a director, producer guy. He directed All of My Children. So you people stand by for that. This guy's going to be great.
Michael Pomerico and Pomerico or Pomerico, and he's going to clear that up. One of the many questions we got from Mike.
That's why I didn't say his name, because I didn't know which one it was.
It could be Tony Dorsett thing where it's Pomerico. Hey, anyway, okay, well, all right. The Cassies are reporting in on two issues in particular. A couple of people have said the cow sounds sick, weak, and robotic, and maybe we ought to.
I think you're making that up.
info@cowsill.com. They're
all right. I'll work on it. Okay, I can take criticism. Of course, I have to pay for counseling for this freaking cow, but that's fine, guys. No, don't worry.
As we have heard from our listeners about this issue that arose because of this repeating our gigs and giving you our schedule at the beginning of each episode. And we had a little pushback. Oh, it gets so tiring. So it's too long. And we said, we won't do it. We won't do it. But we were wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because the people said, you're wrong.
And we can admit that.
We can admit that.
I remember the gentleman's name, and we have a lot of respect for you because we have so much respect for you. We've been doing what you asked, one guy, this whole time, and now everybody's upset. What, Paulie?
Well, I'm just thinking that this guy must be younger than all of us, okay? Our demographic requires this schedule to be said every week so they can remember what the hell is happening.
That's right. Hey, he's younger. You know why? Because
I forget his name.
The youngers need everything like right now. Snip.
Immediate gratification. Yes.
To run through that. So in honor of our change in attitude, we will be in Las Vegas the 27th of January. And it's going to be fun.
Right on. If you live close, drive. If you don't, I'm telling you, the prices for airfare and the airlines are getting better. I had a couple of good weekends, I must say. I've had terrible, horrible ones in the past, but I've had a couple of good ones now, and so I'm back on, loving flying.
Okay, you're something else, kid. But listen, Linda, Las Vegas, because here's what.
Linda.
You don't know how much longer Las Vegas is going to be there. Just thought I'd bring that up.
I never thought of that. Everyone should get there in case Las Vegas disappears sooner than we think.
You don't know what's going to happen on any given day.
I never thought of that.
Well, if Las Vegas is on Friday, if you go, then you'll have done that, and then you could be gone the following day.
The following day.
So at least Sunday, you saw the concert.
Look, everybody calls you and goes, Sunday, Vegas closed down forever.
It might be time for the ancient aliens to haul your ass out of here.
Speaking of which, Paul, I'm not even kidding. And pause 1 second for me. Are you still on the Curse of Oak Island, and have they found the money pit?
They're getting closer and closer.
Paul. It was December.
It's a TV show. It doesn't matter, man. It's great.
I'm so glad.
And every day, every week, it's getting better and thicker and thicker. I don't know how long they can put it off, but they can probably take us another 5 seasons.
Okay, I feel better about being behind now, and I don't even care anymore. Okay, sorry, Bob.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Next gig.
I love these other subjects we're doing. Like me and Paul were talking about sports. We don't usually cover sports here, but 2 issues.
Whoa.
Vegas is Friday. Vegas is Friday the 27th. So I don't want to hear about any football fans who I can't watch my playoff game, because you got those all coming after the show. Vegas, go in there.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it either.
It's still playoff weekend unless it's the funny Pro Bowl that they think we're all going to watch because they're making them play flag football. That could be that weekend.
Gentlemen, this is not a sport podcast.
It is a playoff weekend.
So this is a big weekend coming up for football.
It's not a sports podcast, but it's a sports topic. If Paul and I yesterday watched the Jaguars come from 27-0 to win a game that no one thought they were going to win, and that half of the population went to the store at halftime. So there you go. Don't put that up with me about this topic. Susan's pointing to her wrist, all you audio people. She thinks
what's our next gig besides Vegas?
Yeah, you know why Susan thinks this is boring? Because it's not
going to paint you boys
what the Saints
out of my picture. I'm painting you out.
The Saints.
Okay.
I'm
painting you out.
Now listen.
What? Next gig.
All right. The next gig.
Vegas. Then what?
Vegas. Then it is Cranston on February 11th for the benefit for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Rhode Island. And that is Super Bowl weekend. So you come to the show Saturday night, and then you have your Super Bowl part. It's a big double weekend for you. Now you got a concert and game. Very fun.
Yeah.
So think about combining those. Y'all come
Very
to the
fun.
concert in Cranston, and then y'all go to your game Sunday and watch the Super Bowl. Okay, it's on 6 o'clock at night back there. So
It's going to be amazing.
Commands at 6 o'clock.
Then what happens?
I hope the airlines are happening.
Why? Yeah. Why you say that, Paul?
Because we're going to be traveling on the Super Bowl Sunday home. Well, I am anyway.
I'm going to paint that out too.
Planning on a Saturday. Is
Cranston
Saturday. On a Saturday? What's the number date?
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, the 11th.
That's the 11th.
Okay, Super Bowl travel day. Okay, that's
you
cool.
go home Monday. You
love it.
Or you watch it on the plane or something. After that is
I'm going home Sunday. But Susan, a question for you. Have you booked your tickets for Cranston, Susan?
Probably not.
Because you need to do that.
Okay. Hey, Rusty! Hey,
we're taking some business.
Should I reach out to Russ?
Yeah, reach out.
Let him know. Okay.
After that is the Flower Power Cruise. We are on all week. 3 shows, a Q&A, and whatever.
And what are those dates, Bob? For who might want to try and get on, but they can't because it's sold out.
March 23rd.
There's a waiting list. You can go on there. People are going to drop out.
March 23rd through the 30th is that cruise. After that, Wheeling, West Virginia with Lightning Strikes again, Lou Christie. And then the Happy Together tour, which is filling up, folks. We've had some adventures already.
What's the date for Lightning Strikes with Christie?
April 15th is a big day because we're in West Virginia celebrating our concert with Lou Christie and the release of Rhythm of the World vinyl. Okay? So that happens.
And that date is?
April 15th.
April 15th.
Thank you, Polly.
Yeah, if you want to ignore the tax component of it's a trifecta, then it's your tax day, you got a concert, and
I don't like that.
The World's coming out vinyl. So
yeah.
You're having a fun time, right? Hey, so the Happy Together.
Hey, listen, while I'm taking notes, is that full band or trio in Virginia?
Trio.
Love.
Yeah, trio.
Cranston trio.
I know that.
So Happy Together. We're getting an indication already that going out like May 30th or May 31st and staying till September 1st. These are kind of new bookends for us. We're usually a little first week of June, last week of August. I'm looking for the Nebraska State Fair again. I hope they can get that in. And we're having here's an adventure. We got a little call, and one of the places on the tour they're not going to have us. We've had our wrists slapped for the War Hoops in Indian Lake, and we have an issue where we've been sort of canceled from a show. And that's okay. People get their feathers ruffled, no pun intended. But anyway, so it's an interesting thing to be put in, right? It's very interesting to have that happen for something that Susan, were you the War Hooper in Indian Lake, Susan? I wasn't. I know I didn't do it. It's probably the young one.
I am. I was.
You were.
Oh, no, I was a War Hooper.
It was Paul being John and me.
Don't you wish that we could remember how the fun we were having maybe, and hey, let's do that. Because look, people, we grew up playing cowboys and Indians, and I was often an Indian. I'm sorry, but I was. I'm not going to take that back because I was. But we grew up with that. So our attitude is like fun and all that, and Indian Lake is harmless to us. But we're
no big deal.
Where people get upset at some things that they shouldn't get upset at, but they still do, and then they have to take it out on somebody. And
it's so convoluted and complicated on all levels that it's no fun, and it's not going to get solved. So we don't do it. And so here we've been presented with a situation in that category, in my opinion, to be asked not to sing one of our songs we've been singing since I was 8 years old. And it's like nothing to do with anything but a song. Do-wah diddy diddy dum diddy do. Zippity doo-dah, zippity day. Oh, woo, woo, woo. It's like, and we're little kids. And this to me is bringing something that's so heavy into something that's so light. And that I can't. And it's one time in 50 something years where somebody got offended. And look, we don't want to offend anybody. We're not welcome back there, and we're not going to go back there, and we would never do that there because that upset them. But the thought go ahead, Polly.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, and it was just a person that wrote a letter in. It was not like everybody in this casino. I think the people that go to the show are going to not see us, and they're going to go, wow, what the heck's going on?
And so
for 8 years in a row.
The reason we're talking about it, folks, is that some of you have written in. So we can ignore the elephant in the room, or we can address the elephant in the room. And we don't care,
Right.
And by the way, it wasn't just the song that was canceled.
We actually don't.
The group was canceled. So, and forever. So it's like, what are we going to ignore it? It's kind of funny.
But so then here comes in this dilemma. Yeah, I mean, here comes in this dilemma, though, that we, the kids, have to now sit and think, do we not sing our song anymore? Or when we sing our song, do we? And we then, out of awkwardness and immediate respect, because that's how we knee-jerk react, but we forget we're all 70 years old and need to maybe park our bench and think how we might actually feel about it as adults. And then respond respectfully accordingly, which is what I'm doing. I'm simply saying, outside of all things, this is a song that I now have to consider singing, and I think that's taking everything way too far. And I'm not going to participate like that, because then I'm doing all the bullshit that everybody else is doing. Yeah. So I say we sing Indian Lake until people say don't, and then we'll say, okay, we won't do this anymore. And it's simple, and we don't got to get into anything.
Well, here's what's going to be so great is that day's going to come. Okay, I forget if it's in August or June or July, but it's going to come. And we're going to be so happy that we are not doing that show. We're going to be so happy because we can go to the
snow
movies,
day,
or we can have a snow day,
We do golf, a snow day.
We can do anything. Right. So we thank them. We thank them for the day off.
But an example of the power of one. And it's our second example. One person says, hey, you're doing your gigs too much. Oh, well, we better stop. Well, that's wrong. And so we don't stop. Now, we do stop this other thing. They said, but only there. And we will admit, guys, when this first happened, it was a little while ago. When it first happened, we said, oh, okay, well, we better wake up here. And we stopped doing the war hoops in Indian Lake for a while. It felt so weird. And so, like, what are we doing? How can something that we did when we were 7 and 8 have to be apologized for in 2022? And the answer is it doesn't. So
crazy.
And here's the thing, guys, we are respectful people. We do not. We are non-judgmental. We are respectful. If you strongly, I guarantee you feel more stronger than I do. You can have it. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
In terms of what Susan said, that we want to go along, we want to play along, we want to be good, be respectful. We did respond and said, look, we won't even do the song. Yeah, first it was, we won't do the war hoops. Then we said, well, we won't even do the song. We got other hits we can do on the Happy Together tour. Not good enough. You gotta punish the people. So Susan, you thoughtless 7-year-old, what were you thinking? Doing that with come on. Anyway, so that's happened, and we're having a lot of fun, and it's okay. You'll see us not there.
But like as of today, guys, it's back on. I'm singing my little cute part. I love everything and everyone. So off my back, Jack. And if somebody says to us, hey, we don't like it here in Toledo, Ohio, well, we won't do it in Toledo, Ohio anymore.
Yeah.
Because we're here to please and entertain, but we're not going to modify our own. That's just silly.
We did put the war hoops back. Yeah. If there's a problem, we're easily to accommodate it. We don't have to do the song Glory if it bothers you. But if you cancel the group, then I walk away going, this is what's wrong with the world.
Thank you. Me too. We agree.
So, maybe the song, that's not what's wrong with the world. That's what's wrong with this state or something. But if when you cancel innocent people, I got a problem with that. Anyway, so we can move on. We've covered sports. Canceling. We're having a TV direct round. We're excited about that because I don't know what they do. I swear to God. Now, can you imagine all my children, 27 years, right? So I knew Erica Kane.
I can. I watched it.
You had to be there in the Tad years, right?
I wonder if Michael knows this. I wonder if Michael knows that each one of us in our lifetime produces enough spit to fill up 500 bathtubs.
I believe
It's a lot of
that
spit.
I believe in my lifetime I could fill up a house because I have, chest stuff. The people that you're saying normally,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Normally. Good Lord. Oh,
Yes, the average person. And imagine we must eat a lot of it, because we're not constantly running.
Hey, let's move along.
Okay.
Well, can I add one more
I got
comment?
this.
I'm sorry. Can I respond to Paul?
Yeah.
Paul, this one, because it's an interesting thought that you have a factory in you that creates spit. Now, if the creation in the factory runs ahead of your ability to deal with it, you're sick. So it's a big factoid, Paul. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to try and cut.
Let's move off of spit. That's just, that's like bathroom humor.
I know you've got some, but it
here.
was real good stuff, Paul.
Okay.
Come on.
Did you know the average nose produces nasal mucus to equal 1 cup every day?
And how is that different?
Yeah,
we wanted to race away
every
from the
day.
mucus.
What else you got, puffer face?
We've had, and by the time we're dead, we've had 1,000 different skins because the entire surface of your skin is replaced every month.
We shed.
We shed, yes. In fact, Susan, we shed 30,000 skin cells every minute. 30,000 skin cells every minute.
I know. That's why sheets are gross. Why are we being gross today?
And how many bathtubs and cups does that fill?
500. 500.
Okay.
Do you know that every person at the lifetime has spent at least 1 year on the toilet? Yeah.
Is that including
1 year on the toilet?
Is that including sick years or is this an average? It's an average.
It's an average of the norm. It's an average of the norm.
In that article you read about that one in particular, did they suggest a way to maybe spread that out and not have, or is there a way to consolidate to the year and you can get it all done, or any suggestions?
Well, they had a suggestion, but it was like a cartoon to the right, and it was this guy just exploding.
I'm so sorry, everyone. I am so sorry, everyone.
But here, okay, and then before I go, I would like to have a quiz, a riddle. Okay, so if
Michael's here.
If you live to be 70, how many beats will your heart have beaten?
Ooh.
At 70?
Bob's starting to count. Bob goes 1, 2, 3.
It says if you live to 70, which we've made it. Hey, Michael, hang on,
Michael, we got to figure this one thing out. Listen up.
300 million.
What?
300 million.
300 million. Okay.
Good guess.
That's a good one. Bob?
Now, I'm not going to go 300 million. I'm going to wish I had probably 10 more beats because you're saying I'm done with this amount. I want more. I'm going to say 10 million. Sue?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I'm trying to gauge your reaction to Michael's answer and to Bob's now. So hold on. I'm going to say 500 million.
Okay, if we were on The Price is Right, Susan, you would win because you're the closest without having gone over. Because the number is 2.5 billion heartbeats.
Wow.
By the time you turn 70.
She was closest without, what did you say?
What, 500 million?
Michael said
300 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
He said 300.
I saw him too.
Susan would have won the prize. Okay, Michael.
Hey.
We have promised our listeners to introduce people from all walks of life. Okay. And as we know, our theme has been musicians, because we get to know what to ask them and stuff. Now we have Michael. Hey, Michael, Pomerico or Pomerico?
No, you said it right the first time. Pomerico.
Pomerico. I like the America sounding pronunciation, but that's okay. We'll go with Pomerico. So Michael.
Okay, Paul, do you have anything before I start?
Wait, I'm introing. Hold on.
All right, go, Bob, go.
So from his walk of life as a TV producer, a TV director. Boy, have I got questions. Man, this is awesome, Michael. Thank you for being on. We have Michael Pomerico. And a renowned TV producer, 27 years with All My Children. So I need to talk about Tad and Erica. We got things we got to get into. I'm not going to bore you with it, but I do have questions. We were all watchers and viewers. And he's with us today. Susan or Paul, whoever wanted next.
Yes. Polly.
No, Susan, you always start them off. Why change now?
Thank you.
Hi, Michael.
Hi there, sweetie.
Welcome to the Cowsills podcast. We're so excited to have you. And so I usually start off because I like to know what our guests were doing before they became the geniuses at what they do and what we know them for. So you, and also I have to say this, I have watched All My Children from the very first day to the very last day. And so when Michael and I met, he's a huge music participator, fan, whatever you want to call it, lover. So we met out on the road and we were kismet right away. We had such a great thing in common. But besides his 27 years with All My Children, and I know there's photography involved, I know a lot, but I like to know what you were thinking. What was little Michael doing? Where you grew up in Jersey, mom, dad, Michael, family. What were your thoughts? You weren't thinking, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to direct a soap opera. So
No,
what were you thinking? And what were your folks for you? What was your life?
Well, my folks wanted me to be the best or happy with whatever I decided to do. That's
awesome.
You know,
Perfect.
But I remember clearly in 1965 watching a show called Lost in Space with your friend Billy Mooney.
Yeah.
And then that tailed itself into Batman that next January. And then another show came along that following September called The Monkees. And I was in heaven. And I knew when I saw Batman and Robin coming down those poles that I wanted to be involved with television. I didn't want to be Batman or Robin. I wanted to be shooting it. I wanted to be involved with it.
So that is amazing. So you were out the chute because we're about the same age. What made you know something else going on the other side? Because at your age,
that is a good question. I don't know, but I knew I was watching it, so somebody had to be shooting it.
Okay, so when did you take that desire and that thing? So now you're, junior high, high school, you're starting to become you. You're listening, obviously, to a lot of music.
Okay, so
how do you morph that into? And Polly's got a question.
I just wanted to know what his parents did before we went on.
Good. Yes, I usually ask that.
That was a group's claims manager for a company called New England Life Insurance, and he used to insure the New York Yankees. So we used to go to Yankee games every year.
Okay.
So he did that. And my mom was a housewife.
Cool.
So,
and they were into you. They backed you, like you said, whatever's going to make you happy.
Yeah,
so
but my dad and mom would say, you're wasting too much time watching television. So I had to laugh. When I was in fourth grade, we had to write to pen pals, and everyone in the class wrote to Spain, Hawaii, Australia, Hollywood, California. I wanted to know what was going on out there.
Oh, geez.
Wow. That is very, very cool. So you got to get a job. Your folks also said, what are you going to be when you grow up, Michael?
Right. Well, I went to college for television production, and my dad said that you need to have a plan B. So I took a minor in meteorology. So I
You're going
to be a weatherman?
No. I'm saying that was my joke. I always say I could have been a weatherman.
You took meteorology in college, Susan.
I don't know what that means, dude.
Well, we studied the stars. We studied weather. We studied rock. All that sort of. It was geoscience was the actual class. Now that so that, but I excelled in television, and I had a professor who worked at ABC because the school I went to was in Jersey City. It was Jersey City State College, where
Nicholas
little went, right? And which was now New Jersey City University. And so we had, because it was so close to New York, they would bring people that work in the business into school to teach, an adjunct teacher or whatever. And so I had somebody that worked at ABC there.
Cool.
And I took the class, and I live in Homedale, New Jersey, which is right behind the PNC Art Center, actually.
Right.
And there's a store here called Delicious Orchards, which is a fruit store. And I was working weekends while I was going to college. And lo and behold, I'm working in the store, and who comes walking but my professor? And we start chatting, and he said, you know, we took the finals last week. Why don't you, I'll give you my number, call me. He lived in the next town from me. I never knew that. And he said, call me, I'll give you your grade. So that night I called him, and he said, you did really well. He said, would you want to work at ABC this
Holy
summer?
shit.
So I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So I had to, the last week before I graduated, I had finals. I was supposed to start at ABC. So what I went to all my professors, and I said, look, I got my finals, but I got a job, and it starts this week, and this is what I want to do. So they all let me take the finals around my.
Wow.
Were you a page when you first started, or did you go right into a department?
I went right into a department. I actually was in the videotape / film playback studio for the network.
Cool.
And that studio was actually in New Jersey, because if they aired out in New York, they had to pay an entertainment tax. So they built a little satellite studio in New Jersey, and they ran the cable through the Lincoln Tunnel and blah, blah, blah. That's how I got on the air. So I started with putting on Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Eight is Enough. All those shows were on film. They were on those, like in the movie theater, those big 35mm films, and we had to thread the projector.
Yeah.
At 3 seconds to the top of the hour, the technical director, who was in New York, would push the button to automatically start.
No pun intended.
You and I have a connection. We were both members of our senior class in high school that were the first graduating class of our high schools. You at Homedale, me at Middletown. That's number one.
Applause to Bob and Mike.
I can't get over a comment you just made. So your dad's the insurance guy for the Yankees. You're going to the Yankees. You're going to the Yankees. I think you're a Mets fan. What happened?
I had my little son Joseph with me one day, and I was Mary. We stopped at a store. She ran in the store, and in the front of the store it said, the town was having a trip to Shea Stadium to see the Mets play. And I said, gee, Joseph's 8. I think it's time I take him to a baseball game. So we went to Shea Stadium. We went to see the Mets, and he fell in love with it. To be fair, my dad and I took him to see a Yankee game. But there was something about the Mets, I guess, because it was his first.
Okay.
He became.
Was it the 69 Mets? Wait, was it the 69 Mets?
No.
No.
Well, no. When Joseph was it was 99, I think it was.
Oh, later. Okay.
Or 99.
Okay, that's good. Now, back to the real. But I swear to God, when you said it was your professor that you bumped into in that, wherever you were, that coffee shop, I thought you were going to say Susan Lucci walked in, and you're like,
me too.
And the rest is history. Okay.
Okay.
So now you're at ABC.
Well, the rest was history. If he'd have met Susan Lucci at that moment, she wouldn't have had the wherewithal or the power to go, hey, why don't you come with me and we'll do some video work? He would just say hi and bye.
You love the job. You think this is the coolest thing ever. What's the next step out of the room there?
Well, then I was what they call a vacation relief. And Paul, I've heard your stories. I've watched and listened to every one of your podcasts. I know this is number 70 something.
How fun having you here, Michael. Keep going.
Yes. And so I know you were a page and you didn't look right. I know that story. But I was hired as a summer relief. So what they did was, because the networks and television's on 24 hours a day, they can't shut it off while the engineers go on vacation. So they bring people in and they get to train them and test them out, which is great for the network, because if you didn't work out, you're not coming back the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was
an audition. Yeah.
It's like an audition. So I worked the first 4 or 5 months. I guess it was like May through October. And then they told me they were moving me into New York to finish out the year, which was great. So I became a tape operator in New York, film person, and got laid off at the end of that year. and they said, you're coming back next May. And all during that time, my father would say, you sure you don't want to put your resume in again? You sure you don't want
Yeah.
Plan B.
Right. So
No belief.
Plan B. But I got called back and was there ever since. And that was so I started in 78, get off, came back in 1979 and was with ABC ever since.
Okay, but so now it's 79. How do you, I want to know how Mike gets on All My Children.
So then I get to a department, but you're not going into tape, you're going into a place called Master Control. Master Control is responsible for everything coming into the network and everything going out of the network. So we would have remote feeds. And at that point, they were starting World News Tonight, where they had the 3 or 4 anchors. Max Robinson was in Chicago and was in Washington, and Peter Jennings was in London. So we were dealing with all the satellite feeds coming in. And so I learned all that. And when you do that, you'll also learn the studios.
Okay. Because
all the studios need feeds, and all the studios, everything went through Master Control. I mean, every wire, every camera came into us before it went to the control room, because they could patch those cameras to different control rooms.
Just see this huge computer room.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't computers then.
It was analog.
Now,
analog.
Just a question to a company where you're at. The word director, the function of being a technical or a full-time director, if that's not in your head yet, you're just loving the scenery, the cameras, being in the whole place, right?
I was in heaven.
Nice.
I always said I want to work in the business. I don't care what it is. I want to work in the business.
Okay. Yeah.
I did always have a little soft spot for directing and for creating something. So once I got into Master Control, I started to love that stuff. We worked with sports. I mean, I worked on, when President Reagan was shot, all hell broke loose that day, and we were getting feeds from all over.
Oh, wow. That's very exciting for
ABC
news people. And for
the biggest event I ever worked on during that time of my career was when Jimmy Carter was being sworn, or I think, no, not Jimmy Carter, Reagan. Reagan was being sworn in, and they were releasing the hostages.
Yeah.
That thing. That was such a chaotic day.
Yeah.
From everything, we were getting correspondents calling. We had remotes out at where the hostages were being released. We had the parade for the president, and it was just
you can't move fast enough. You couldn't move fast enough, right? It's just all hands on deck. I can feel the excitement.
And Michael Carter was trying to delay the release so to speed it up so he could be president when it happened. Reagan, right?
Yes, I do remember that. You're right. I do remember that. So all is leaving. You had Reagan coming. You had hostages being released.
Holy crap.
It was a really chaotic day. So anyway, that takes me to around 1983. And one of the guys I was working with wanted to be a technical director. His passion was news. And so he got assigned. Now, I said to you that you have this vacation relief where you can work during the summer in another area and then get laid off. Well, lies, as an employee of ABC, if you wanted to become a cameraman, you were working in control, you could go become a cameraman for the summer and they would get somebody to replace you.
What?
So, and then at the end of the time, you'd come back. So I said, what have I got to lose? I want to be a technical director. So I went and became a technical director for the.
What is a technical? See, I'm reading technical. I don't know what that is. What do you do?
What's the difference between a technical director and a director of a show? Go.
Okay, great. Good question.
Good question, Bob.
The director is in charge of all the cameras, doing the show. I was responsible for. I had a switcher in front of me. Sometimes I'd work in the studio where I'd play shows on the air. That other job I was doing, hit the button. Now I was the person hitting the button and putting it on the air, and that was home. So you had to roll commercials in. They put black slugs, they call them, blank film, where the commercials go into film. So the film's still going, and you have to cut away to a tape commercial and
technical stuff.
It's all that kind of
very technical
board and everything. Yeah. So I became a technical director. And at the end of I worked midnight to 8 sometimes at the local station because I worked for the network, but WABC was part of the network's working. So I did that, and it was all over the place.
Okay.
So when that period ended, I went back to master control. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to know, this technical director, are you in a booth most of the time? Or are you on a set?
No, when you're in that aspect, as far as the putting stuff on the air and all that, you're in a control room with a board, and you have an associate director and you have an announcer. You know, the announcers they used to have,
okay.
You know, coming up tomorrow on, you know, whatever. We mix that in and do that live throughout the whole country.
I couldn't do it.
And so when that period of time was over for me and I went back to master control, the next year, the same guy says, "Hey, you going to be in a TD this year?" I said, "I'm not going to do, I'm not going to go into working midnight to 8 and all that stuff. I can't do that." I wasn't dating anybody at the time, and life was just about work. So at any rate, he talked me into putting in again, and I put in, and on my schedule, when I got what they called upgraded, it said AMC. And I said, "What's AMC?" And they said, "All my children, we're going to send you down there to train to be a technical director on the show."
Awesome.
So that it just happened.
Now, was that a moment for you? Was that, oh my God, this is the next level?
Yeah, yes. And now, what am I got myself into? Because I didn't know what was going to take me. So I went down there and I observed the technical director who was doing the show. And there's actually 2 of them. The thing about a soap opera is because a show aired every day, you have to produce a show every day. Yes. And so you actually have 2 crews. You have 2 technical directors, 2 associate directors, 5 directors, 2 ADs, and everybody rotates every other day, except the directors come in once a day. There's 5 of them. Once a week, there's 5 of them. So I was on the rotating schedule. And when I got to a point where I could, you know, now I'm sitting there, I have a script, I have to mark my script with all the camera shots. And all the director does when he wants a shot is he taps his pencil on the console, and that means to switch. And you would switch. And because I have a script, camera 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm talking to the cameraman, camera 2. Everything is shot numbers. So there's like 300 shots in a soap.
It's like a ballet.
Yes, and I always equate it to an orchestra. I say when it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cue, the booms are flying, the cameras are moving.
It's all moving.
It all comes together.
Michael, yes. I can't tell you how exciting you make technical directing sound. I got to tell you, it sounds like it's all over the place. A quick question on technical directing. Does the technical director interact and get to know the people on the soap operas, like the Susan Lucci's, the Tads, all the people involved?
Yeah, you're in, you spend a lot of time with these people. I mean, we start our day at 7 a.m. and we're out of there at 8 o'clock, sometimes 9. My goodness. I did a show with Stevie Wonder. I got out of there at 2 a.m. So
wow.
Stevie Wonder was on the show. Yeah,
everybody cool was on that show.
So all through this time, and it sounds like you were pretty locked into the booze and the thing. So I can see this. You might not have had this, but a lot of people I run into, all the way up to directors half the time, they always had this desire to be on the other side of the microphone and use this other side of the microphone to get themselves to where they could go to the director. Hey, why don't I do that little bit part? Did you ever have that, feeling in you?
No, I never thought about any in front of the camera. I just love the editing. I love just putting the pieces together to create something.
Okay, when do you go from? Go ahead, Bob.
No, you go.
Okay, when do you go from technical to regular old director?
Well, and I'd say about 10 years in, I started. I mean, I sat next to 5 directors every day was another one, and you pick up the good points. You want to squat. You see what works, what doesn't work. And I just one day just decided to go to the producer and say, "Hey, you know what? I mean, I've been this now for 10 years. I would love to the opportunity to learn to direct the show. I think I could do it. And so she said, why don't you go audit an acting class, and why don't you go see what, to direct something, and to put, just block some scripts. I'll give you a director that you could work with, that he'll look at you, block a scene, and then he'll grade you on how well.
Wow.
So that's what I did.
Were you an AD first?
No, I never was an AD.
Okay.
When I went outside.
Assistant director is that term, guys, that we use in TV.
Right. Same.
Cool.
And so I got to a point where they said, okay, you can do some scenes. So my very first scene I ever directed was with Mark Consuelos, Kelly Ripa's husband. He was the first scene I ever directed. And
Mateo.
Mateo, yeah, you got it. And then I started doing more scenes. And then they said, we think you can do a show. So I did a show. So I did a show a month, because I still was a technical director. So I did all that together. And then eventually I was doing more shows, doing 2 shows a month.
Okay. Question about the first one that you directed. So that's a big day. So you direct this episode, and are you on the phone to your mom and dad saying, you won't believe this, it's coming up, I directed this episode? Are you just going to town on it? It must have been a big day.
Well, the weird part about it is, because when I would do scenes from the shows, I had the other director looking over my shoulder. And so it was, when I did it myself, I was by myself. I didn't have that, person saying, no, you don't forget, do this or do that or whatever. I just did it. And I was more relaxed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, when I did the first complete show, I walked out of there at night like, what did I just do? Because I'm telling you, it is, you get on a train in the morning and you get off when the show stops at night, and that thing is moving, and you're hit. You're responsible. You get, Paulie, you'll know, Scenic will come up to you and say, we're, this, that, or you'd have to move it, or I can't get my camera here. I need props to get that,
Can you hide Video Village?
Yeah, right. Or the booms are in the shots. Where can I put the booms?
Yeah. I see the shadow.
Yeah.
Technical directing. I think I got that. Directing. Now, this is basic. Look, I don't know anything about this stuff, but is this where you get to, as the director, like go to Susan Lucci and go, hey, Susan, I'm not feeling it from you. Are you allowed to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, yeah, but you also got to be diplomatic about it. But no, but as a director, every movement you see on a television show is what the director has told them to do. So you have to tell them when to walk, sit, come over here, get a cup of coffee, whatever it is that you see them do, the director plans.
Okay, so may I?
And that's all blocked out.
Correct. So let's say 7 a.m., coffee, bling, bling, bling. Okay, everybody on set. So Michael starts off by going, okay, Susie, you're going to sit down here, and Tad's going to come in. He's going to say, blah, blah, blah. Tad, you're going to put your cup down. Susan, you're going to get up, walk over to the lamp, turn it on. You're going to then, Tad, you're going to throw that ashtray at her.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited.
Well, no, but you're right. But what we did was we met at 7:30 in the morning in a rehearsal hall where I just had the actors, and we moved chairs around.
Okay.
They're blocking, and I'd say, okay, here's the door. You walk in the door, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Here, okay. And then they would mark their script, what their movements are, and then would rehearse the scene. And then they might say, I'm having a problem with this line. Can I say this instead of that? Can I this?
More comfortable doing this? Do I have to lift that?
Right. So, and sometimes I had the authority to say, yep, that's fine. If something involved the story, I'd have to go to the executive producer. I said, we'll clear it with
headquarters,
hierarchy.
And then at 10 o'clock, we would come down to the studio floor where the cameras have been setting up. And now we do the rehearsal all over again with cameras, and the cameramen have shot cards that the technical director made out for them. And he has shot 42 is a 2-shot, shot 43, he has his number.
Okay.
And and so we do it again. And that's where we find out, wait a minute, you want me to cross here, but the coffee table's here. Well,
wasn't there in blocking.
Yeah, can you move it? So
Set deck.
Yeah.
And this is every day. Every day you go through this.
Day. Yeah. And
every
then we
day.
would go, right. And then we would go to lunch. And then after for like 12 to 1, then we'd come back and we would do a complete dress rehearsal nonstop. And when we did the show, when I started, we used to do it contiguous in a whole scene. So we would have 2 cameras for this scene, and the other scene down in another set was getting ready. And then we go there live, and we would do all these cameras would be moving in between scenes to get to their proper place.
What the hell?
So you had a plan. Gee, when I go to this set, I only have 2 cameras because I used 3 here, and we had 5 cameras. So I got to give camera 3 time to get down to this set. So I can't give him any shots until he gets there.
Incredible.
I have to work out all this timing. And then we do the whole show that way. And then they do a thing what they called red chairs or notes, where all during the time of the rehearsal, I or the producer would be taking notes saying, Susan, come in, you're too lethargic, or I'm giving notes on what you said before about, I need you to be fired up, Susan, or I need you to,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, how long? So this is your day, and it's a long one. Now, when you go home, aren't you mapping out the next day at night at home?
Well, as a technical, let's stick with directing. No, I had a whole week, but here's the thing. 2 weeks prior to the show you're going to do, you have a production meeting where you've read an outline and you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to need a bucket of ice here. I'm going to need this. And you have your notes, you have a meeting. So on some days when I'd be directing, I'd also have a meeting to go to during lunch to talk about a show I'm doing 2 weeks.
Holy shit. 27 years every day.
Yeah,
how far ahead in that spirit, how far ahead are these actors and actresses receiving their script? Because they got to come in and memorize, don't they?
Right, but they get it when I get it. Because that's when the script's published.
Okay.
And
a couple of weeks before, you mean? Even.
Yeah, I would say about 2 weeks prior.
You're guarding the scripts. You can't let these scripts out. Fans like us want to know what the heck's going on, right? This is valuable stuff. Is it in a vault?
No, it's, amongst us. We're not.
There's scripts everywhere.
Scripts everywhere. Yeah, you find them under the sofas and everything.
Did you find the actors and actresses varied all over the place in terms of who comes in prepared? They memorize their lines. They're ready, but you
names,
get someone.
But
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to bust anyone. I'm
not busting anybody, but I'll tell you, somebody like Michael Knight, who played Tad Martin that you asked about. To me, when he came to the set, he never brought a script with him. Do you know why?
I can tell.
Because he knew it.
Oh.
And he was
that level.
Yeah. And sometimes he would say things like, he'd say, oh, wait a minute, what's that line? Let me just see the script. And then there was a stage manager who had the script that would run over and show the line, or I'd yell out what the line is. But for the most part, he really was.
Okay.
I remember one day coming into work, and I was walking into the building, and Kelly Ripa ran past me, and I said, "I'll see you in a couple minutes." She says, "Yeah, I have to look at my script first." She knew it. She knew it. She was another one.
Yeah, they got good at it, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just forgot what I was going to say. I get so flustered thinking about all of this.
While you're thinking, Susan, let me just digress, because I had a question here that we're going to take you back to when you were a kid. So did you play sports?
Yes. Baseball. Big baseball fan. Love baseball.
Cool.
Absolutely adore baseball.
Baseball been very, very good to him.
Yeah. Just love the game. Yeah.
I have a question.
Cool.
It's amazing. Technical directing gets an Emmy. I'm going, wow, that's a job that gets an Emmy. I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Michael's got
behind him. I'm
6 or 7 Emmys, 15 nominations, technical and regular. So my question is, when you were a technical director, were they getting given Emmys out to technical directors at that time?
Sure. Yeah.
And you thought, and what is it that you guys do that warrants an
That
Emmy?
you
I mean,
win the best version of.
Well, the category is technical excellence in a daytime drama. That's,
right.
I bet I could answer.
It's the best technical director gets the money.
Because Bob, let me tell you something.
No, that they would give an Emmy to that position. That's what I'm asking. The history of that, you know.
But if you watch a lot of soaps on a lot of different channels like I do, and you can honestly see like a more like a show you're watching that's more fluid, that's just isn't clumsy, isn't I don't know. That's how after you described what it is. Go ahead.
Right. We did the show we got that I got my first Emmy on. We did a tornado came through Pine Valley, and we had
something like that.
And we destroyed. We had little peanut cameras in the floor. We put them all over the set. And
it was great.
Yeah, and we basically destroyed the sets.
I love it.
You know, it was real.
And as you're winning all these Emmys, go ahead, Paul. Because this is just a.
Well, I had another question because I did notice every now and then, and I'm telling you, every now and then, you guys would do location,
right?
A location shot off the set,
right,
off the stage. So, and they were so infrequently, you know, it seemed like, well, why would they do it? So was it just mandatory because of the writers saying, hey, this is what's going to happen here and we got to do this?
Well, I believe it's motivated because of sweep months.
Oh,
I believe February, May, and I think
okay.
So see the shows that had the two-parters or whatever.
Yes.
That's how they charge their ad rate. So that's when these remotes would take place.
So sweep week, Dimitri and Erica are going to Budapest. I'm not watching Another World this week. I'm watching this one.
Right.
Because we're going to Budapest. Plus, I mean, everything. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Got you. Cool.
So, Michael, while you're winning all your Emmys and including all of your nominations, are you feeling empathy, or are you getting into it all, this fact that poor Susan Lucci can't catch a break? I mean, is that a part of the scene of Emmys with all my children and family?
Great question.
No, it is. Susan is very sweet lady. Myself and the one that played Kendall, her daughter, were supposed to have lunch with her in a couple of weeks, I believe. First of all,
Kendall?
When she would, Alicia.
Okay. Yeah. Tall, skinny Kendall. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When Susan wouldn't win, she was very good about it, but we were like, oh, we better not say anything.
That's what I mean. Because you guys are raking it up, and she's probably going, how can everybody get this but me?
But how could she not ever get it? Because that's just insane.
No, something happened at the end. She got an honor. Something happened at the end.
She got it. She got it after 19 years. Yeah.
It was a very big deal.
But wait. Okay. So I'm sorry, but I have to finish this moment. So Michael. So I'm sorry, but this is very important, and a lot of all my fans will be very happy. And plus, our fans are going to love seeing Michael, because Michael's popular in his own right out in our Cowsill world. So this is cool. But Michael, Michael, here we go. So did you stay with it the whole way till the last day when everybody got told it's over?
Yep, I did the second.
You got to bring me through that, man.
Well, it was not pleasant.
One thing. Let me tell the boys, guys, watching the show. And they literally tell us either that day or whatever, it's over. And we, the public, were told that the cast and crew and everybody else working also did not know it was done. Go, Michael.
Well, that's correct. We found out in April that it was going. Okay. But we stayed in production till August because we finished out in September.
That must have been rough.
Yeah. Well, the rough part about it was at the end of 2009, they came to us and we had a big meeting, and they told us that the show was moving to LA. So we went on a 2-week hiatus and moved all my children from New York to Los Angeles. And, that was like, what do you mean? You got, what's going on here? But there was the feeling of, well, gosh, they must really like the show. Their show's not going anywhere if they're going to move us to, to save us, to save the.
Oh, yeah.
So I went out there. Mary, my wife, was very gracious in letting me go. Maybe she wanted me out, but no. She's sitting over here, and I don't want
Oh, of course she is. Hey, Mare.
But at any rate, so I went out. I got an apartment, and I went out for a couple. I was going to go for 3 months and see what it was like. And they wouldn't let me go. They wanted me to stay. So I stayed. I got an apartment eventually. Mary would come out and visit. The kids would come out and visit. I'd go home. I'd do go home on a Friday and come back to LA on a Sunday and stuff like that.
Oh, boy.
And then the show, they pulled the plug on the show. I mean, at one point, Mary was out. We were looking at houses.
Yeah. Because I would think the move to LA felt like they're amping up the show,
Yeah, rebirth.
Okay, so everybody moves to LA because all of you guys do not have a clue that this is happening. Correct?
Correct.
And then, so how many days, when did they call Susan and go, your show's over, kid?
I believe she found out the day that that they pulled the plug.
Okay, this is what we were told. The All My Children community just about died, as did our people that day.
Yeah.
Didn't you all have contracts? Didn't you have contracts and they broke them?
I don't know that. I don't know that aspect of it. I'm sure there's a clause in the contract. If your show gets canceled, then your contract's void or whatever. Yeah. But no, I got a phone call because I wasn't directing that day to come into the studio at 11 for a meeting. So I went to the studio and everybody was there in the studio floor and people were speculating,
Oh my God.
I love that time. It's exciting when
it is
speculation.
And then so we're waiting and 11 comes, 11:05 comes, 11:10, and all of a sudden the door opens and the executive producer, the head of ABC Daytime, and Susan Lucci come walking in the room.
Oh.
And the look on Susan's face told the story. I mean, and so they canceled One Life to Live the same day. So they had a satellite hookup to New York so that this head of daytime could address both studios, both shows.
Wow.
So
crazy.
Okay, here's a question.
That's amazing.
Why do you have any idea how and why with the unholy three right there? Days, GH, All My. Why 2 and why did GH say?
Well, I believe that it wasn't a ratings move. I believe that the ABC Daytime, well, first of all, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but if you went on this person's LinkedIn, his bio says that he successfully transformed the ABC network from a drama-based to an informational-based.
Oh, is that what he did?
Format.
Yeah, and also the fact that it was expensive to produce the soap.
But let me ask you, was it still popular or were we still watching? Was it still working?
I don't think any show, I mean, they've gone through what, 2 or 3 shows, 4 shows, whatever. I don't think any show has ever done as well as All My Children and One Life to Live.
It was a life changer, man. And I know you guys think it's silly, but it was.
Can I go back into the room? So these 3 come out with Susan Lucci, and you're going to learn right there. You learned it right there. What did you do? Did you all go out to Danny's after? And
well, we were in shock. I went outside and called Mary back here in the East. I said, guess what? We just got canceled because you're going to find out about it on the news. So,
wow.
So I told her, and then we just sort of were numb, and I still had a show to do later that week. So
I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Did they feel that they gave you all enough time to get your affairs in order and go for something next, or they didn't care?
Well, what happened, interestingly, about a month after all this, what are we going to do and all that stuff, we were approached. We had another meeting from a company called Prospect Park, and they said that they were going to license the shows, both My Life and All My Children, and put it on the internet. And they said they said that their hope was that we would finish production on a Friday for ABC and start on Monday for the internet. And that was their plan. So we had the last production day on August 28th, something like that, in for ABC, and then we were going to start on Monday. Well, as that date became closer, they ran into some issues, and they had to put it off, and put it off till September. Put it off to, till October. Then it got pushed past November. Then it was going to be in early January. So when I finished All My Children, there wasn't the feeling that it was really the end. It was the end of the network, but there was this feeling, well, heck, I had an apartment out there. When the show was over, I came back east, and that apartment stayed vacant until February the following year, when I finally gave it up, because we still weren't doing this internet.
Wow.
The internet thing did start in 2013. We shot in Connecticut, and we did
I remember the strange little Pine Valley thing going on.
Yeah, it was very different. It was very odd.
It was
now
odd.
were the people that were dismissed on August 28th, are most of them veterans of the show like you, who really took this like, you just broke my family up, or were people coming and going all during your 27 years there?
Well, I'll say this too, and I'm not going to mention names, but there was one actress who was hired that lived in LA and was talked into coming to New York. And this person didn't want to go to New York, but they said, we really want you for this part. Come to New York. So this person went to New York, set up shop, and later they said, we're moving the show to LA.
Oh, shit.
Michael, you would agree that having 27 years on a TV show is incredibly fortunate. A little bit of luck's involved there, because to these guys' point, most of the people in TV and movies, they know that things aren't going to last. And so you're always having in your head, where's my next gig coming from? And you're constantly doing that. And Michael, having 27 years at one spot, it's been a little different for Michael than most of the crews and stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. I had a conversation with Willie Ames a little while ago, and we were talking, and he said, man, I would have died to be on a soap. And I said, but I feel like I maybe should have spread my wings a little bit and done something else.
Got you. Yeah.
He said, dude, you were on a show for 27 years. That doesn't happen, man.
Yeah, I'm with Willie.
Yeah, it's historical. It's historic, especially that'll never happen again, probably.
We thought it was great when Grimm got 6 years, 6 episodes, 6 seasons like that. Was like, wow, we couldn't believe this was happening.
Right.
So it's nice when they can run.
Yeah. No, it was great, and so when the show's finished, I did. I got a little bit into the little music thing. I did the OJ's 50th anniversary concert.
I was going to say, what came after that? Yeah,
I did that. Shot it and edited it at a theater here, and you guys have probably played there. The Bergen Pack, I think.
Bergen Pack, yes.
So I
sure enough,
there we had we did it all high definition. I did some work on Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge.
Cool.
Cool.
I also, that's how I met Gene Cornish. I did he was in a group called the New Rascals at that time with him, and Dino, and 2 other guys. So I did a DVD for them. So
excellent.
So
and what's going on for you? What are you thinking you feel like doing?
Well, I just working with Alicia Minshew, the one who's Kendall on All My Children, and this past year we did a pilot for a TV show called Eltingville, which is based on Eltingville, Staten Island. And we shot it during COVID over 3 days. And I edited it, and they've submitted it for 5 festivals, and it's won 4 of the 5 festivals.
Shut up.
So hopefully we'll see where that goes. But it's a different world. But
tell us about it.
You're preaching to the choir, pal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at my notes here.
Best album, guys. Excuse me. This is a great album.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. I didn't expect to see that.
Wow.
But so 2014 is this Pride, the series and stuff. Is that's you, right? You're
I did that. I was
that had a more normal kind of run. You're not going to go 27 years on that. What, a couple of years at least, right?
Right. Yeah. I was asked by someone that if I was interested in directing this thing called Pride, the series. And so I did. We shot it in Manhattan, on the streets of Manhattan. And that was interesting. It was fun. And then it just did its thing.
What was that, an ensemble kind of thing? You had so many guests on that show. And actually even Gina Davis I saw. You must have met her, but that was so cool. It seemed like a cool run. I can't remember. It was on
Amazon, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, it was like an Amazon thing.
I did this pilot, and we're supposed to do. Hopefully, we're going to do more episodes. So I will get, back into directing that stuff.
I love Kendall. I love the chick who played Kendall. She's a friend of yours.
So you hear from some of the, like, do you hear from?
I always text Cameron. Yes, absolutely.
So you stay in
and
touch
of course,
with him.
you guys know my and Cameron's airline moment, whereupon he gave me a ride home in his limousine.
What? What?
Bob, real quick. I'm traveling with the Continental Drifters. I'm meeting them out at a show. I am in overalls. I look like a bag lady. Ryan from All My Children's in first class. We get off the plane. Ryan is coming off the plane and he forgot his stuff in the back of his seat, but I haven't crossed the borderline. You can't go back. And I go, I'll go get your stuff. So I ran and grabbed his stuff, handed it to him. So then now we're going down the elevator. Now maybe I could give you a lift into town. I'm like, dude, I'm married. And he goes, that's okay. Let's take the, come on. You got to go into town. Limousine, the whole thing. He had just been it was hilarious.
Oh,
and it's Ryan. And so he tried to get me to go out to dinner with him, and I didn't go out to dinner with him. And it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I still talk to him and Alicia, like maybe once a week. We chat about TV stuff.
We have got to have a tea cocktail. I have got to sit down in front of him. He's got to remember.
Oh my God.
But look, we love you. We have enjoyed.
Yeah, that was great, Michael.
Getting to know you, and this has been cool, right? We came with the other walks of life, and what a great representation. So
we know a TV director.
We know a freaking Emmy award-winning TV director.
Yeah, your Michaelness became, what you did to us, and then you got real big there. And I said, I wonder if he'd be interested. Anyway, thank you so much.
Excellent.
Like I said, I listened every week I'm there. So
well, I'm glad we could introduce you to the folks and everybody that's in our podcast world. It's just too cool of you to do.
They know him. They know, I swear to God, this is going to be fun. We're going to hear about Michael's cast. I know it.
Everyone look for anything with Michael Pomerico on it. And by the way, he's not a politician, and he didn't win the Employee of the Year as a policeman. Those are the other Michael Pomericos online.
All right, Michael, you have something you'd like to say before we go?
Nothing, just that we Mary and I love your shows, and you guys are such great people, and I can tell you that when people walk out of your shows, there's a smile on their faces.
Hey, that's all we care about.
At the end of the day, you guys do it. You guys rock.
Right. We'll see you out there this summer, right?
Yes, you will.
Okay, right on.
Michael, I want everyone to know that Michael did this almost on no notice. It's like a holiday, and we got to do an episode
and we needed Be Another Walk of Life. That was the thing.
That's for
that
sure.
was the ticket.
Instead of our walk of life.
I learned more than I ever knew. All right, everybody. Till next time.
We lost Paulie.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, see you on the road.
Love to marry Mike.